From the mountains to the prairies, as Coloradans, we must protect the state's well-being. One way to do that is with Wild Connections Conservations. In this week's Give Pikes Peak, Board President Jim and Co-Executive Director for Fundraising India join us to explain more about their mission and upcoming 30th anniversary. Yes. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine.
Can you believe we're almost done with January?
No.
Yeah. Lots of things going on. Let's get started with what is Wild Connections.
Well, Wild Connections is an environmental organization now celebrating our 30th anniversary that focuses on protecting wild areas on a landscape-wide basis. And the reason that we do that is that because wild areas can't be separated from one another. The wildlife needs to be able to move back and forth. So we try to protect the connecting links, the corridors, the wild connections that wildlife need in order to move from like summer range to winter range, or to find their food. And why is that important? Well, because Colorado is a very fast-growing state, for one thing, and then also Colorado, the whole Front Range is where the big focus on growth is right now. And the other reason, of course, is that climate is changing, and that changes the way that animals have to live, and so it's more important than ever that we make sure that these our existing wild areas aren't just isolated, but that they are connected together so that wildlife can move back and forth.
You guys got these details maps with you today. Yes. Talk to me a little bit about those.
Well, this is our area of focus, which is basically the upper Arkansas and South Platte watersheds. Colorado Springs is kind of right in the middle of our area of interest, and like our motto says, we try to do it from the mountains to the prairies, cover all the habitats.
India, let's talk a little bit about yours.
So this is our award-winning map created by Allison Galinsky, our board director, and we use geospatial modeling to find areas that are connected refugia that are basically nature's lifeboats in a warming climate. So these areas have been identified as climate resilient so that they'll continue to stay the same and animals can thrive there. So we use this a lot to identify areas that are going to be successful for projects and restoration.
It's kind of nice to be able to have this visual like this so people can actually see exactly where these animals are going to be and where they're actually going to flourish and kind of where they're going to, like, that whole situation.
Yes, exactly. It does look like a lot of data, but it is very important. So,
and you even have like better, good, best. I like that. Below average, all the good stuff. Your key's right there, India.
Yes.
All right. Well, you guys are celebrating 30 years.
Yes,
that's got to be exciting, Jim.
It is, yes. And we have a number of events which we have planned for that. First of all, India, I think you were going to talk about our tomorrow's show.
Well, tomorrow we do have a special event to kind of kick off our, now that we're in 2025. So we are co-hosting an event with Rocky Mountain Wild, and we'll be talking about the Colorado pika. And they live in our own backyard up on Pikes Peak, but they are a crucial climate indicator species for our mountain ecosystems. And that is at 6 p.m. and it's open to the public, so you can always go on our website and learn more about participating in that. It'll be a really, really fantastic educational event. We also have a wilderness hike coming up on February 23rd, but a lot of events on our anniversary calendar.
All right, 30 years though. How many, talk to me about some major milestones you've been able to achieve with Wild Connections.
Well, we produced what we called the Wild Connections Conservation Plan back in the, about 15, 20 years ago, which is basically how to manage the national forest in order to preserve this connectivity. We spearheaded a coalition of environmental groups that were working with the Bureau of Land Management to help them produce their Eastern Colorado Resource Management Plan, and we had success in increasing the number of acres they recognized had wilderness characteristics. And
that's a huge one.
Yes.
More land, the better.
Oh, yes.
All right, really quickly, how can people help you guys out with Wild Connections, and where can they go for more?
So it's really great to be involved with us. We have hikes and educational webinars. We also have volunteer opportunities, so hands-on restoration projects, but really our website and our social media, so wildconnections.org. And of course, directly donating does support these restoration projects where we need the equipment
Yeah.
and to recruit our volunteers.
Got your hard hat on
Yeah,
today,
the hard
Jim.
hat, yes, brought that. We have a couple of restoration projects coming up this year, and we do hope we get a lot of volunteers out. What we do is we'll be closing a couple of old abandoned roads on the Forest Service property, and we rake and seed it, turn it back to nature so that the wildlife can move back and forth freely.
Oh, it's just to feel good. It makes your heart feel
Yes.
good. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for being here with us today, sharing a little bit more about Wild Connections and how you guys can help. You can register for any of the Wild Connections upcoming events on their website, wildconnections.org. We do have that one tomorrow, correct? At what
Yep,
time?
6 p.m.
Tomorrow at 6 p.m. We'd also like to say a special thank you to Give Pikes Peak for sponsoring this segment.